Welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast, the go-to resource for aspiring and seasoned entrepreneurs looking for insights, advice, and inspiration. I'm your host, Shiraz Sadiq. Today, we have a very special guest. She's none other than Heather Nobes, who leads marketing for Visa in Canada. Heather and her team are making waves in the industry, activating both global and local sponsorships, including the Olympics, Paralympic Games, NFL, TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival, FIFA Women's World Cup, and Canada Soccer. Since joining Visa in 2004, Heather has worked in various roles in marketing, consulting, and sponsorship, with the most recent initiative supporting women entrepreneurs, athletes, and underrepresented groups. Some of the notable projects include the She's Next program, sharing the Screen initiative, and the partnership with Canada Soccer to support the women's national team. Today, we're going to dive into these initiatives and understand more about how Visa is driving positive change in our communities. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's jump right into this exciting conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Of course, today we have Heather Nobes with us. Now, she holds a significant portfolio, not only because of what she does for Visa, but the impact that her role has on the community at large. And we're going to hear all about her today. Thanks for joining us today, Heather.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And I know a little bit about you more than the average person knows, okay? She was a budding soccer star, okay? Can you tell us where your love for sports began and where it kind of bleeds into what you do today?
Yeah, sure, of course. You know what? I played soccer growing up. My dad was very active, like in both my brothers and my sort of like, sports careers. Played in Ottawa for many, many years competitively. Just have always really loved sports and the lessons they teach us and see a lot of value in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you said. Mm-hmm. Your dad invested in you and your brother.
100%.
And you saw that.
Both. Mm-hmm.
And you saw that model very well. It's like, hey, female, male, let's go.
100%.
Son, daughter, let's go.
Yeah. And you know what? My experience growing up was that there were mothers and fathers actually who were giving of their time and, volunteered as like coaches and managers and trainers and all of that. So I feel very lucky that was my experience.
Can we assume that that's where you get your passion today to continue to support female athletes and athletes in general on all levels? And then we're in the middle of the World Cup.
Mm-hmm. I feel really grateful that, part of my job, is being able to, champion women athletes and support women in sport. And I do often lean on my experiences as, being sort of like an, amateur athlete and, playing sports, like even intramurals, right? Like even just staying active, we can appreciate like how critical it is that, not only there's access to sports, but also that we have women athletes who are leaders and role models. So, I think my experience growing up and being athletic, and then also my passion for sports, really helps me in my role.
You don't get to your position in a corporate setting if there isn't drive. Mm-hmm. And we hear this all the time, right? You former athletes, amateur athletes, you get that drive and there's something that propels you and pushes you. How does that impact the culture at Visa as far as always trying to do more for others?
Mm-hmm. It's fascinating. Like, we at Visa, not just in marketing and not just, people like you have the benefit of working with athletes and on our sponsorships, but, the culture at Visa is about inclusivity. Okay. And it's about access. And we fundamentally believe that we need to care about the communities that we live and work in. And we aim to uplift everyone everywhere. And so that is our North Star. That is something that is consistently considered in our business decisions in who we partner with in terms of athletes and properties. And I think that helps us make good decisions.
To the point where the global program right now, the player of the match, right? I wouldn't do it justice. Can you tell us about what that is? Because it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, I'd love to. So Visa is a longstanding supporter of soccer or football, depending on depending on where you live.
Yeah. And we can have that debate after.
Yeah, which is it. But another thing we're really proud of is so our sponsorship of the Women's World Cup. We were the first brand to come on as a sponsor of the tournament that's taking place now. Mm-hmm. And for the last 2 World Cups, we have been the official sponsor of the Visa Player of the Match, which is fan voted. So it's determined by the viewers. Okay. And the idea is that it awards the player in the match who had made the most impact or sort of stood out. And so what we've done this year as part of our tournament support is we've actually connected the player of the match to a small business support. So we have committed to award a grant for all 64 matches. And what happens is we will grant it to a small business or organization supporting small business in the country where the player of the match is from. And so in Canada, we have partnered with the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business. Okay. And we've made a commitment to fund $25,000, which is going to go to Indigenous-owned businesses. And actually women businesses like Indigenous businesses are the fastest growing. And so we're working with the CCAB to identify, worthy businesses and women entrepreneurs so that we can get that funding to them.
And folks, of course, you know that we're involved with the Indigenous SME Business Magazine. So she's speaking our heartbeat. And you can see the affinities here as far as where our passions lie, to elevate and lift up every business regardless of what part of the world you're in. Mm-hmm. Of course, we have the opportunity to play in the Canadian space right here. Mm-hmm. I'm sure this isn't the only initiative from a community engagement and from a social responsibility perspective that you're involved in. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us what else Visa does?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? We're really thrilled. In the middle of last month, so middle of July, we awarded She's Next grants. So this program is something that we do sort of like consistently. Okay. And we award $10,000 grants and access to this world-class mentorship program at York University to 10 women entrepreneurs. And we had the opportunity to celebrate the 10 most recent recipients last month. And we actually brought together, so in Canada, we have awarded 50 total to date. And we had all of the recipients together for the first time, which was so special because I think we did a pretty good job pivoting for COVID. But arguably, we're sitting here.
You got to invite us to the next one.
I will. I love that.
I can't imagine like that table or that room where they're seeing each other, the connection, the camaraderie, that the bonds that probably built within these 10 as well.
That's right. And the thing is, these women have met over Zoom and, we have done, there was definitely connectivity between them. But, and this because you speak to so many people about small businesses. This community is a community of people who want to help and who see no downside to uplifting others. Mm-hmm. And so the connectivity between these business owners, and they might be in totally different businesses, right? Somebody might be in a service-based business, somebody might have a brick and mortar store, but that's really not what the lessons and sort of like the support come from. It's shared experiences. It's, how have you solved for, sort of like international shipping? Like, talk to me about taxes. Like, do you have somebody to help me with this? And it's those conversations that we saw playing out at our event that I think are the most valuable, frankly, and creating a network and creating a community and playing a very small role in that is so fulfilling.
Ladies and gentlemen, obviously, you know that we want to bring the best content that we can to you every time we sit in front of the camera. There's a specific reason why we have Visa with us today. You can hear for yourself how they support the small business community. It doesn't matter your background, how much experience you have. The She's Next program, for example. Mm-hmm. Wow. Now, how would somebody find out more details about that? Mm-hmm. How can people get involved? Whether they want to become a mentor, whether they want to apply to, potentially win one of these spots. Just where do they begin? How do you get involved?
Yeah. So I would strongly suggest so. So visa.ca, there's all kinds of content there. So specifically on the She's Next grant program, there's content on our small business hub, and we look forward to running another program in the fall. So I absolutely encourage anybody to, if not for you, if you know somebody, a woman entrepreneur who has a small business, please encourage them to apply or follow us on Instagram, because we're constantly messaging in terms of what we have coming up. And then if you're a small business and just looking for resources, whether it be, content or best practices, there's all kinds of amazing content on our small business hub, same place, visa.ca. And there's also all kinds of offers and, bits on risk and cybersecurity. And, if you're looking to, sort of shift your website to be transactional, if you want to be able to start, selling online, there's all kinds of really great content there. So I would encourage people to visit.
Yeah. Heather, thanks for hanging out with us today.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, Visa is one of many. You're not alone. You're never alone in this. That's a choice. Right? There's so many organizations like Visa. We're here. Whatever you need, there's always a solution and someone willing to extend their hand. This is Canada, after all, and that's who we are. A land of opportunity, but also a place that wants to lift up each and every one of us so we can all get there together. Thanks again for investing in our audience in a worthwhile way.
Thank you so much.
That was Heather Nobes, a key player at Visa in Canada, sharing insightful initiatives, the importance of elevating women in sports and business, and how you, as Canadians, can support small business owners. Heather, thank you for your time once again, and thank you for all the work you're doing to drive social change and empower the entrepreneur in all of us. And of course, a huge thank you to our listeners for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. We truly appreciate your support, and we hope that today's episode has provided you with insight and inspiration. We'd also like to take this time to thank our partners, our banking partner, RBC, for providing the financial support that businesses need to grow and thrive. UPS, who of course is our shipping partner, and they ensure goods are transported safely and efficiently, a crucial component of any successful business. And finally, our software accounting partner, Xero, who is simplifying the way businesses manage their finances. Your dedication and support are instrumental in the success of Canadian SMEs. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll be bringing you more insight from industry leaders and experts in the world of business. Until then, stay motivated, keep pushing forward, and remember, every big business was once a small business.